What do I do about the house? Hi, I'm Jeff Jackson, and I counsel people who've lost someone they love to suicide. About 75% of suicides take place at home. Of course they do. It's where they lived. But for those of us left behind, that presents an added problem. How do you go on living in this place where the biggest tragedy of your life happened? And should you? There's no easy answer to that question, but I'm going to walk you through the options and some of the things you might want to consider. First of all, this is going to vary greatly by your situation. For example, if you lost your spouse or partner in the home you shared with them, and that was a place that didn't have a lot of emotional significance, then it's perfectly reasonable to think that moving might make your healing easier. But even then, this should not be a hasty decision. My wife died by suicide in the house that we had been living in for about 2 years, and I stayed there for about 6 more months because it was more than just the site of tragedy. It was my home and the special place I shared with her. But I think I moved on at the time that was right for me. But in my case, we didn't have children. If you lost your spouse in the home in which you've raised your family, things get more complicated. Is it wise to uproot your kids considering all they're going through? I honestly don't know the answer, but you do. Deep down, you'll know. Use your judgment, obey your inner voice, and do what's right for you and your family. Just do it thoughtfully and with careful consideration, and not in haste, and not because you think it's what other people expect you to do. Now, if you lost a sibling or a parent or a child in the home that you shared with them, the same considerations apply. You need to strike a balance between continuity and the need to separate from painful reminders. You have enough to process and cope with without adding a move or a hunt for a house or apartment to your burden. Although for some people, that's a useful distraction. Like I said, there's no one-size-fits-all answer for this one. You just have to trust your instincts. Now, sometimes people feel the need to turn the room that their loved one occupied, or the room in which they took their life, into a sort of shrine, never touching or disturbing anything there, sometimes not even daring to enter or allow anyone else to enter the room. That might be okay, maybe even necessary, for a while. But to keep that up over a prolonged period of time can actually make healing harder, mostly because it keeps us anchored to an illusion. In my video, Mired in Grief Still, I talk about how sometimes we survivors subconsciously keep ourselves in this state of intense grief because that's where we feel closest to the person we lost. It's like lingering in the last place we saw them, hoping they'll show up. Treating a part of your home like a shrine comes from the same place, a desire to remain close to them. But unfortunately, it doesn't really work. They aren't there anymore. And trying to preserve something that isn't really there doesn't help you heal. The same dynamic applies to their possessions, clothing, keepsakes, cars. To get rid of them feels wrong, but to hold on to them obsessively also feels somewhat unhealthy. A good compromise might be to hang on to a small number of special things, but let their other possessions move on to people who can use them, either through selling them or giving them away. There are also creative compromises, like turning clothing into quilts so you can keep something of theirs in a new form. Less painful and maybe more useful. Check out Etsy for people who offer services like this. Now, conversely, some try to erase the pain by quickly getting rid of everything connected with the person they lost, but that doesn't really work either. Like all facets of suicide grief, what to do about your home and their possessions is something that takes some time and some thoughtful diligence to work through. But your general rule should be, don't do anything rash or hasty, but don't make the mistake of thinking that a house or an apartment or a piece of clothing is your only connection to them. You will always be connected to them, in a good way, no matter what your address is. Things are just things. Don't invest them with more meaning than they deserve. Follow your inner voice, and I'm sure you'll do the right thing for you. And if this video helped you even a little, follow or subscribe, or find me at makingsenseofsuicide.health.